So there, so that song they get there from somebody a while ago. Let's go to the beach. All right, so we have the fashion covered, food and the safety tips are covered, and now we are at our destination. We know that summer is never complete without a trip to the beach, but did you know that the salt water has a number of benefits? Our very good friend, Alfred Dawes, medical doctor at Windsor Wellness Center. Um, I'm glad he never gave me that word that I just can't pronounce. My friend, good morning. How are you?
Morning, we're going easy on you on the vocab today.
Sea salt. We're talking about intake here or just the salt overall? What we're talking about?
Well, the salt overall, we're a population that has a high incidence of high blood pressure. As a matter of fact, the estimates are like 30% of the population may be hypertensive, half of who don't even know.
Yeah.
So what we're really looking at is the benefits of salt outside the body, not ingested, or at
Okay.
least in the close to the surface.
Yeah. I was
So
looking,
you're
but I was looking at one. It's way down the road, but because of what you just said, it said drink it. Sea salt water will help flush out your digestive system and assist in the absorption of nutrients your body needs. But you just say you're talking about outside the body.
well, the problem is our population, as I said, a lot of people don't know that they're hypertensive. And whereas other persons may get a lot of benefits from having that sea salt water, it may be dangerous, in fact, to increase your salt intake, especially if you are on water tablets
Okay.
for kidney disease or you have heart failure or you're hypertensive. So we wouldn't recommend us going and doing like that. But it really does have some benefits
Okay.
because it's not just the salt, the table salt that is dissolved in the seawater. There are other crystal salts such as magnesium, zinc, and all of these are very good for the functioning of your muscles and your nerves and your overall your digestive system.
All right,
So it
sorry to jump in. Let's take some headlines here. The first one says salt water keeps you fit. Explain.
well, you tend to most people can float or swim in salt water better than in fresh water because of the natural buoyancy. They say if
Okay.
you go in the Dead Sea, you can't drown because you just can't sink. So
Okay.
you tend to do a little bit more physical activity rather than just standing around waving your arms. And with that in mind, you burn more calories, and it's a very good resistance exercise without straining your joints. So especially if you're overweight or you have joint injuries, you don't want to put too much pressure on your joints themselves. Then this is an excellent way to do some resistance activity
Okay.
without stressing your joints.
Okay. It clears your mind.
Oh yeah, just being at the beach, the sights, the smell, the salty air itself, there's a world of a difference. And it's very relaxing. It has been used for stress relief for thousands of years. And it's pretty much just puts you back in touch with nature and a calmness and sereneness that you can hardly get elsewhere.
Okay. I think some of these kind of hook on to others because it just says it clears your mind. This one says sea salt benefits your well-being, which is kind of the same thing, or no?
Overall, remember well-being, our health is not just the absence of disease, it's your spiritual, social, and physical well-being overall.
Okay.
So if you can improve your health through de-stressing and focusing on the inner you, then going to the beach even before you start doing a physical activity can go a long way towards your overall health.
Yep. Salt water soothes skin ailments. What kind of ailments are we talking about first?
But the common ones are your psoriasis and your eczema. And
Right.
in fact, a lot of patients with ulcers, especially the ones related to venous disease, poor circulation, they get a lot of relief by going to the beach. As a matter of fact, when I was in the Bahamas, one of the first things patients always wanted to do when they left was to go to the beach and soak their ulcers or wherever they had any amputations. And it does this because it helps to kill bacteria. And not only that, it actually decreases the inflammation, decreases the redness, and it has a natural dehydrating effect. So we cure meat, we dehydrate the outer part of it. And that actually helps with the healing. It gets rid of some of the bacteria that causes acne. and it can cause some exfoliation or clearing of the dead cells on the outside of the skin.
Okay, I went jump through this one because I think you may have spoken about it. It may keep you hydrated. It's the same thing about whether you should drink it or not drink it, I suspect. Same kind of
Right.
answer.
Well, when you do any physical activity, really and truly, you are losing salt in your sweat. And you want to replenish the salt, whether it's through eating. Some people have sports drinks, but you can just make your own natural at-home sports drink with a pinch of salt. Or if you're at the beach, swallowing a few gulps if you're having a long day, especially if you're out in the sun and sweating a lot.
Yeah. It seems, and this is me, it seems a little bit contradictory to me because you hear that you shouldn't be having too much salt. Can that happen? I mean, can there be too much salt with all of what was said if I go beach like every single day for the week type of thing?
Well, if you really are swallowing a lot of salt water consistently every day, then you may have an increased intake. But the truth is that the occasional trip to the beach will not cause your salt levels to rise as long as you don't have any underlying heart problems or kidney problems.
Okay. It can help clean your digestive tract. Track. Okay.
Yeah, well, the natural thing with water, it can flush your digestive system. It adds fluid to the stool and it aids in constipation.
Yeah, it can clear. It can help to clear the skin. I think you spoke a little bit about that also. So what's the ideal? I mean, you said if I go every day, but what? Just a weekend, once a week? What? What should I do?
Once a week, yeah, on the weekends is usually good. Overall, we didn't mention it, but it's really good for your respiratory health. It can help to clear sinuses. As a matter of fact, there's this thing called the neti pot where you can actually pour salt water in your nostrils, and that helps to flush out the sinuses. Everybody would know once they go to the beach, if water goes in the nose, they have a lot of mucus coming out, and afterwards they feel less congested. And that's one of the ways in which it works as well.
Yeah.
But if you do that once a week, you can have significant improvement in terms of your allergies, your overall health, your stress levels. But you don't want to become too much of a beach boy. You still have to try and afford that vacation.
Yeah. I want to change lanes just a bit before we go, sir. I can remember, and you will correct me if I'm wrong, but you were sitting with us when the coronavirus discussion really just started, and I think you suggested, I know one medical doctor said 80% of us will get it. I think you said 50% of us will get it. Where are we with that now? How do you feel about what's happening with the virus now? What kind of controls we have? Are we doing the right things?
Well, it's still hard to say. The thing is, we just reopened, and we're not going to see the big surge until maybe about 2 weeks after. A lot of people were criticizing the response to Corona by saying that in the US, they were having all of these protests without social distancing and they didn't see any increase in the Corona cases. But immediately 2 weeks later, when you had that incubation period done and all the cases started to manifest themselves, there's a huge jump in the US. So now that we have started to let in persons back into the island, it's 2 weeks down the road that we should start to see a real climb in the numbers as the community spread really begins. And it has gotten to places where it wasn't before, downtown Kingston and in the inner cities of Mobay, where it's crowded and persons have less access to healthcare and generally poorer health. So now is when we're going to really see where the epidemic is headed.
Well, to be fair, in recent times, you said big surge, and I want you to explain that quickly for me. But in recent times, we've had 3 for the last 24 hours, 4 for the last 24 hours. We had a couple of days without anyone. When you say a big surge, what are you talking about?
Well, if our testing capacity continues to trend up, then we're going to be picking up a lot more. So you may be hitting like 50. We're going to be in the thousands. We're just at we're under 1,000 still, and we're months in, but we are going to be in the thousands by the middle of August.
Are you still saying? Did you say 50% of us? And are you still saying that?
Maybe it's still early.
It's still early, doctor. It's still early.
As I said, we just really reopened, and the economy has taken a hit. It's going to be hard to close down again. And we have to find a way to live with this. The truth is that in a lot of the countries where they had a big outbreak and they thought that they would have gotten the herd immunity in and around Madrid in Spain, for example, the antibody rate or the immunity rate was just about 5%. And that is what we're seeing elsewhere. So it's not like we're developing a lot of immunity to it to give us that herd immunity where we're going to have that peak and it goes down. It may be with us for quite a while, and depending on whether or not we have lifelong immunity, you may have regular corona outbreaks just as how you have flu season.
Final question, sir. Can we be comfortable? And is a drug and a vaccine the same thing? Are those the same thing if I say a drug and a vaccine?
The drug treats, so you don't have as many people getting seriously ill or dying. The vaccine actually causes you to produce antibodies to defeat the virus before it takes hold in the system and you get infected. So one treats infection, one prevents infection.
Can we be comfortable until that happens, that we get a vaccine? And if your answer is no, how soon do you think we will get a vaccine?
Well, you just have to look and see that America bought up all of the supplies of the one drug that has shown some promise. So even if there's a vaccine and there's an effective drug, where will Jamaica be in the pecking order? So we can't be comfortable even if there's a vaccine or a drug that comes on, even within the next 6 months.
Thanks, my friend. Always great to see you. Take care. Dr. Alfred Dawes, medical doctor at Windsor Wellness Center. We will always have time for the doctor. More and Smile after the break. 10 minutes to your health. We do it again next Thursday. Soon come.